Hey everybody, welcome to Studio Live. My guest tonight built a company that sold for $275 million. He shared the stage with Tony Robbins. I'm very lucky to have him. He's told his story on NPR, how I built this. He's a personal friend of mine, musician, entrepreneur. His story is one of the most unbelievable, inspiring stories that I've ever heard. It's an inspiration. So you know the bread. You've seen his face in the aisle 100 times. Dave's Killer Bread, the #1 organic bread in America, 22,000 stores. So do the math there. But here's the package. What the package never told you. The man on that wrapper spent more than 15 years in prison. Burglary, armed robbery, assault, the whole shooting match. Four trips down. He says it himself. I really suck at crime, and my heart is not in it. And then at 38 years old, sitting in a cell at the lowest point of his life, he wrote a note, a little scrap of paper. They call it kite, asking for help. He dropped it in the box, and then one piece of paper changed everything. He got out. His brother handed him an oven, and he pulled a loaf of bread out of it, and with that, built an empire and turned the worst chapter into thousands of jobs for ex-cons trying to find a way back. Now, for me, I always enjoy talking about taking your test and making your testimony out of that. And so, or taking your lemons, making lemonade. And Dave is really the best at that. But here's the thing I want you to know before he sits down. That jacked rock star shredding a guitar on the wrapper, Dave will tell you flat out, that guy is fictitious. So tonight isn't the bread aisle fairy tale. Tonight we're going to find the actual man behind the wrapper, the one the package never had room for. His band, the Granddaddies, played at one of my Governor's Ball New Year's Eve concerts. We've become friends. We met at, I believe, you have to refresh my memory. I believe we met at the Waterfront Blues Festival when my company was doing all the ticketing for Steve Miller or something like that. Anyway, he's one of the realest, most inspiring people I know. Hey, welcome out to the show, Dave Dahl. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's an honor to be here, brother.
Hey, we can start anywhere, but I want to start, just take you back to your brother's bakery. The morning you pulled that first loaf of blues bread out of the oven. What year was that, and how did you end up there?
Well, that was 2005, and you made it sound in your intro. You made it sound so easy. Yeah, my brother handed me an oven, and I pulled a loaf of bread out of it.
Yeah,
It was
just
killer.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I love that, man. It was 2005, and I was pretty fresh out of prison. I got out December 27, 2004, and by August of 2005, we were debuting the first bread at the farmers market.
What did people respond? Were they instantly just like, "Oh, this is yummy. I love it," or do you remember that?
I think most of them just had a hard time keeping from like falling down with pleasure. It was weird. They'd have a bite. Like I remember this older lady who was probably about my age now, but at the time she was older, and she grabbed I had all these samples out on the tray, and she was just trying the different ones, and then she didn't really do much but walk away, and I'm
Oh,
like, okay, whatever. And then she came back about 15 minutes later with like 8 people because she grabbed samples and took them and gave them to people. Then they were all back for more. And they all bought bread. And I'm just like, and they're all just like, everybody loved my story from the beginning because my brother said we're gonna call it Dave's Bread. I wasn't sure about that idea, right? Because I
Mm.
didn't really want it to be about me. You know, I was restarting my life in a with intent to not make it about me, but and not about
Wait,
drugs
stop
and
there.
just
How come do you think? Is that because I mean, is that because you were nervous about people like digging into your story, or shame, or just because you were just like very what's the right word? Just um,
well, I had
loving and wanted to move forward. You know.
no, I had discovered in prison. I think the most one of the most important parts of my story is that you know, I was in prison in 2001, a few years before this, and I asked for help. I put in that kite. I think you mentioned that.
Hmm.
I put in the kite to psych services and asked them. You know, I was desperate. I was asking for help with my brain because it was going. I was going nuts, and it was a trip that changed everything. It gave me a chance to go to school while I was in there for drafting, and you know, all that was just, it all happened to be, it was phenomenal, and it was never about me. I was like, I'm about the work, I'm about what I'm doing, but I'm not about Dave. You know, I mean, I am, don't get me wrong, but I don't want, I've discovered that power of humility, right?
Mm.
Which it doesn't mean anything but being real. And that's what I had learned to do, is be real. And so drafting just made me excited, made me go, wow, I can do whatever I want. I just got to really work hard and focus, and, you know, and I can create. And drafting is similar to bread in the sense that you design the product. You do a lot of iterations of a product before you find the actual product that you want,
Mm.
that you think is going to be the product. And then you test market it and so forth. You know all about it, Pat. You
Hmm.
do that same Patrick, you do that same thing, man.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
you know when you walked into the the first bread, you called it beautiful. What did you see? I mean, what made that all of that beautiful? Did you know then you had an inkling, like once people were giving you that feedback? Did you already have an entrepreneurial kind of spirit? Did you already start thinking, "Oh man, I want to make a company immediately," or were you
No,
like just like enjoying the accolades? How
I
when
love the
did when did
process.
the entrepreneur brain part of you kick in?
Okay, it's like I tell people all the time. I enjoy the process. You know, I enjoy the journey. So that was what I was enjoying, and I didn't know what I was trying to do was make a product for the family business that would kick it up kick it up a notch, right?
Hmm.
I didn't expect, I didn't really think, oh, this is my product, or this is a Dave's product. This is actually a Nature Bake product, which was our brand at the time. My dad was a baker, and he was a pretty cool baker, but I hated his ass. Everybody did, but I
How
don't
come? What
anymore.
was your dad? How come people hated him?
I don't know. He was just rough and had no social graces. He was Seventh Day Adventist and a hardliner, but he didn't follow his own rules. There was a lot of things we didn't like about him, but you know, when I got old enough to realize how hard it can be, you know, I began to look at my father as a hero and a pioneer in the company, in the business, and I ended up just taking it to another level.
Well, so your family and your mom. Did you just share a little bit about your just your family upbringing in general? Like, what kind of fam did you come from?
People are always surprised to hear I was a Seventh Day Adventist. I was born into a Seventh Day Adventist family, and it's kind of like being in your own little world. At least it was for me. There was no, I was sheltered from the world. My mom would say, um, David, it's the worldly things that you have to avoid. The worldly things, and that was the kind of mentality we were brought up with. And I went to Seventh Day Adventist schools, private schools. I went to Seventh Day Adventist church, and then I worked in the bakery on Sundays when I was really young. Other than that, that was my life, and that was that way for many, many years.
And you worked in your parents' bakery for like a quarter an hour,
Yeah,
and then you were handing
literally.
some
Yeah.
of it back. And when you look at that kid now, what do you want to tell him? Like the young Dave
Uh,
Dahl,
wow, little Dave suffered
little
so
Dave, yeah.
much. Yeah, little Davey, he suffered. He suffered hard. Okay, because the had low self esteem. He didn't get it why he was even born.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, I got acne everywhere when I was young. Now I just got the scars. But I just lived in a dark, you know, sad world for many years.
mm.
I just got a note that I need to hold the camera out and a little further from me. We try to.
Yeah, I think they're saying like lean back or something. I don't know.
How's that?
Looks great.
How's
Yeah,
that?
that's a good frame.
Okay.
Yeah, looks
All
good.
right. Well, we're just trying this for the first time, aren't we? Are we? This is your first show, isn't it?
No, I've had a couple other Ray Parker Jr. Ghostbusters. I had a couple of others, but
Oh, cool.
definitely working on the ironing out the technological stuff. I mean, you can do it all on your own, but it's kind of like it's kind of like having an instrument. You have to gotta get used to all the buttons and what to push when.
I'd really like to see that setup. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, I think you're built for this, man. That's my guess. My feeling.
I just
Um,
connected this last couple of months. Really, just I'm so interested in other people. I really am enjoying this interview with you and the things that I can relate to and stories that take a test and make it into a testimony. So when you sold a company, you fought to keep one thing that the lawyers didn't expect, and that was the rights to your own life story. So
yeah,
it
I
was
must
that,
say
yeah.
I was fortunate that I had an advisor at the time who was looking out for me. Most people weren't looking out for me, and well, and my this guy was like a family business shrink. Actually, I don't even say his name, Eugene Wallace. I hope he's doing all right. Sure he is. Um, but he was like, Dave, nobody's going to look out for your story and keeping your rights to your story if you don't hire an attorney and make sure it gets done. I paid tens of thousands of dollars to keep my story,
Mm.
and now I've come to this point where I finally have a really good writing partner, and we are really moving along well on my book. I'm really excited about that.
I was excited to hear about that. When do you envision it being released or put out there for the public and becoming a seller?
Um, I think that will probably, I'm guessing like spring of next year. Like we have like a timeline that we've sort of put down as we're holding ourselves accountable to. And this guy is phenomenal. He's phenomenal as far as his work ethic and structure, and also his creativity. I mean, he's a man after my own heart. And so it's so fun. It is absolutely a blast. And like I said, the manuscript, we expect to have the first manuscript out by like October. And then we'll go from there. We don't know the business of it. We're just kind of like, let's get a good product together, kind of like you do with Dave's Killer Bread. Make a great product and then see what you can do with it.
Making Dave's bread great again.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh no. Don't put me on
Okay,
that. Don't
anyway,
put me
no.
on the spot.
Next question. So what what is the biggest What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
Oh, the most common one is I'm a killer, right? And
Are you a killer?
I think I've killed a couple of mice with brooms. And in the bakery, you got to kill mice once in a while.
Oh my
And
God.
I ran over a cat. I ran over a cat once, and I stepped on a couple bugs when I wasn't looking.
Hmm.
I try to avoid that.
Anything else on that list?
Oh, I don't know. There's so many things, really. I'm basically one of them is that uh, that I'm crazy, or that a lot of people just take me by they hear that I had this run in with the cops in 2013, and so I must be this bad guy still, and I just had a bad day. It's so crazy. I'm still paying for it now.
Hmm.
I don't know what else is there. There's lots of misconceptions. They're all the time. If I read a book about myself, or an article that comes out, and they come out all the time, uh, they are so full of crap, man. But I'm like, for the most part, they got it right, because the important part of the story is whether it helps people or not.
Yeah.
And I think if they get that part right, and they actually and people actually benefit from it, then it's cool.
Right. Yeah. You know, Jim Carrey, I saw this quote by Jim Carrey that said, he said, I wish everybody could have everything they ever wanted so they could understand that that's not it. You know what I mean?
Uh,
You know what I mean?
it's
Because
the journey.
I
It's
know
the
you've had a
journey.
lot of nice things. I've been up to your pad and your whatever, and it's beautiful. And I've had some nice things, and I've been to every party. But you said the breads, started having kids. The blues bread was the mother, and the rest just came. You and I both
Yeah.
know the high of building a thing was. It sounds like you're just saying the building was the part you actually loved, or were you happy most,
Oh, I would have.
when you got there and you could just count the cash?
No, 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 no. I've never been about money, and now I am, because I'm trying to keep the little bit I have left. But you know, I really in those days, and even now, I'm not about money. I'm about the journey, and what's the journey like? If you can't do a good journey, if you're not living a good life, then money don't mean nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I try to focus on improving my situation, and by improving it, um, the bad things aren't so bad, because I'm always working on something. Yeah, you know what
mm,
I mean. So when I was in prison, I learned drafting, and it was a beautiful thing. But drafting, what it taught me, is that I'm drafting my life.
mm.
Uh, and I'm the one who is responsible for what happens next and what happens in the future. And anything that happens to me that's outside of my control is outside of my control. But I can accept that and make the most of it, and that's
You
my
can be
job. And
a
so,
good influencer of the direction.
yes, yes, it's no. And if I don't get there, whose fault is that? It's probably mine. You know what I mean?
I got some questions from people. I'm thinking about getting a phone call in number type thing, but I've got Michelle. Let's see. Do you get tired of the cop incident bad day being brought up and stuck to you? I know you're a nice guy.
That's a good question. Uh, I realized after 63 years of a lot of ups and downs, really high ups and really low downs. Um, it's just another experience, and they've put a lot of restrictions on me, and it's been tough in that regard. But overall, it's just another one of my experiences, and it taught me the hard way that I have to take care of my brain. You know, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, it's like from what you're saying, it sounds like I think we kind of agree. A lot of life is an inside job. You know, it's like
Yeah.
whatever's here comes more to you, and you know. But anyway, you walked away with like 33 million, and you said you lost a little of yourself in the sale. What did selling the company cost you? Do you think, or did it?
Well, doing that part alone wasn't it. It was it was the fact that my baby. It was something that was so personal to me. Every single creation I had, came from somewhere, and it went somewhere, and it was having all this effect on people. And I felt like in the early days of it, I felt like I was really on. Uh, I was never going to screw up again. I thought I'm. All I got to do is just avoid the pitfalls, right? But I didn't know drinking was a pitfall. I didn't know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was other things. Drinking, was too much. I did too much drinking, and I was doing good things and drinking, and then I was drinking and doing less good things. Partying, and so when we sold the first half of the business in 2012, uh, made me a millionaire, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I was. That never made me happy per se. It certainly gave me like something to fall back on, and it just changed. It changed how I viewed myself. I was less humble, and the less that I was being myself, being the best self that I can be, and trying to be the best, and rather than just kind of resting on my laurels, that became a problem. Eventually, it was. The monster before I used to think was methamphetamine, right? In the last century, but that's not the monster. There's something else that creates monsters, and that's the real monster that you have to keep at bay. And I didn't do that. So I didn't start doing crimes or anything. I was accused of murder, but I didn't do that or anything else. I just was having a lot of fun and not thinking properly all the time.
Hmm. Hey,
But selling the business was it was hard, especially the second time losing my baby and watching this company who really didn't care about the things that I cared about taking over. And that was a hard thing for me to see my baby grow up and become a communist or something.
yeah. Your brother Glenn picked you up at the bus station the day you got out, handed you a job in the oven, right? Are you guys close? Like, where are you and Glenn now? Are you guys close?
Pretty good. We're pretty good. Really good, I would say. We're working on our friendship, on our brothership and brotherhood, and it's just whatever the bad things that we've been through together, uh, and seen together, it's we have to move on. And my brother and I are not spring chickens anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's time to cut the bull, cut the stuff that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If your mother is it you pronounce it Wanini? Is that how you pronounce it?
Juanine,
Wanin. If she could
yeah,
see you here tonight, and what would she say to you? Do you think how would she be proud of you? Would she?
I think so. I think she would be like, "Oh my God, Dave, I thought you had it all figured out, and then you screwed up again. Oh my God." But she wouldn't say that. She wouldn't talk like that because she's a Seventh Day Adventist. She was like
Uh,
a pure person.
mm,
Uh, she never drank any Coke, like soda pop, even, or definitely didn't think about smoking a cigarette.
mm,
And that's the kind of person she was. She was like, "We're living now so we can live better in heaven." That was the whole deal.
mm,
And so my mom really got excited when when everybody started coming up to her and go, "Hey, well, you're Dave's mom." Oh, that's so cool. And she loved that. But then I had my breakdown on the street, and um, I don't think anybody told her about that. So that was probably good. I think she was getting kind of senile at the time, and so she didn't really know it was happening. But I think my mom saw things kind of black and white, and then she'd be like, "Oh, this is good, that's bad. This is good, that's bad." Try to keep the bad away from her so she can see me as good.
Hmm. You've been
I
let's
can't.
show,
Oh, hold on. I can't see these. I can't. I saw a couple of things come up on the screen, but I can't see
Oh
them.
yeah, here we go.
Uh,
So Nicola Alcopara, how does it feel to know that your story is so inspirational?
um, yeah, I think it's wonderful. I didn't ever expect. I didn't see it coming. I didn't know that I was going through all that crap in my early life, thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to be a great story. That's going to help people." But looking back, it makes it all not seem necessarily worthwhile. But I mean, since it's already been done, it's kind of cool. It's kind of, if it can help others. Uh, like, it's not really just about staying out of prison or not doing drugs. It's about success. It's about believing in yourself. It's about overcoming, and I think it's very exciting to see other people learning from that
Right on.
and getting
You know,
inspired.
amen. So we've all been forgiven a great deal. You've been forgiven by Glenn, by Oregon, by the marketplace. Who haven't? Is there anybody you haven't forgiven? Or you know, um,
I'm
usually for
working on
me,
all
it's
my
like
forgiveness.
usually for me, as I'm trying to, I had to forgive my shortcomings. But yeah, anything in that zone, zip code. Um, do you battle any of that kind of stuff, forgiveness? Um, you know,
Um, Forgiveness is absolutely essential in my life. You know, I remember when I had to forgive myself and my dad while I was in prison. I mean, my dad's died before I forgave him. Really, I was thinking about my dad. I was thinking about him in softer ways, softer, kinder ways, and then he died. And I didn't, I wasn't around, so. Uh, I had to learn forgiveness of myself and others to be able to do what I did with the bread, and it was everything that came. So I've learned the power of it. It's like, who wants to carry forgiveness? Who wants to carry hatred and resentment around? And it's just like, whenever I see myself getting in situations where I'm starting to resent or begin to hate someone, I know better, so I get out of it. I deal with it somehow and move on.
yeah, one of you've always been doing good, and I consider that a life of meaning. So roughly one in three of your people that worked with for you were ex-cons. So you built a second chance into a company before that was even a phrase. Of all the people you handed a second chance, is there anybody that stands out in the history of people you've hired that you're most proud of?
Well, there's quite a few. I mean, I have friends that I've seen figure it out and get better. Do I have a particular person that went through
Yeah, is there any
my
story that
company?
is there a person who that you're just like you were amazed, you gave them a shot and they knocked it out of the park, went on and
There's really a lot. There's really a lot of people like that, and you know, I feel like it's affected other companies as well. Other people in other companies. But when I get excited, you know, I see people, not just people that work for me, but people in general all over the place, not even ex-cons, who have overcome and turned their lives around. I feel like we're all in this together. You know, we work off each other and learn from each other, and I'm still doing that. But I don't have a specific person in mind at the moment. I could say that my
Oh,
good
okay, that's
buddy
fine. Yeah, I was
Laz.
just an idea. I was just
Yeah.
curious because I know there's a ton of people that worked for you, and not everybody realized. Not all of our listeners do. By the way, if you're listening, please like, share, and subscribe. This brings us to my next segment, um, and this it's personal because I call it the rap sheet. The rap. You've said it. You've said it yourself. I really suck at crime. My heart's not in it. Uh, 4 arrests. What made you
No, no,
such a
no, no.
bad? What
Many,
made you
many,
such a
many,
bad
many
criminal?
more than that. Many,
What
many
what kept
more
going
arrests.
wrong?
Arrests are more like 44 times four. I lost track of
Wow.
arrests, but the
So you're
actual,
terrible.
I, yes, but the actual prison set that I got, those were four, and that
Oh,
doesn't include the trip to the mental hospital and other county things.
oh,
I was arrested many, many times. It was unbelievable, but usually it was small and it was over with quick.
oh.
I'm
So
not good. I'm not a good criminal, but I kept
I
trying
just
to
thought that
be.
was funny. Uh, anyway, so you shared the stage with Tony Robbins. I watched that interview. What a remarkable interview. I'm pretty sure, though, that Tony never asked you this, but you and I have that kind of relationship. So here it is. Let's get into it. What are we working with here? What kind of felonious activity did you did you get into? Well, whatever you want to
Okay,
share. If you don't want to share, it's fine too. I just thought it was fun.
it's all embarrassing, but it's not like I didn't rape anybody, I didn't kill anybody. I never really hurt anybody that bad. It was more like I scared a lot of people, though, so that's not good. But I did armed robberies. I started with burglaries. I started with other kinds of theft, like not car theft so much, but uh, jockey boxing. That's where I started. Desperation in order to get high. Then burglary, same thing. Then armed robbery. I accidentally discovered how to be an armed robber when I accidentally robbed somebody at their house. I broke into a house one time and the lady was there and I told her to grab the TV and head out ahead of me. And I realized how easy it was for me to do that sort of person to person crime, and it was very easier than burglaries and anything else. So I just was like, um, that's the kind of mind I had back then. It wasn't it wasn't like what it was is I had like no moral compass because I had discovered the dope and that's all that mattered. And
Mm,
so eventually armed robbery, but I after doing a bunch of time, I thought I settled on burglar or on drug selling,
mm,
and I was pretty good at that. But that didn't keep me out of prison. So a lot of drug related offenses.
mm. How about but I heard you're very, very good. Your specialty is car stereos.
I don't know where you got that.
Be honest. How fast could you get one out of a dashboard? Could you still do it today?
No, now they do a better job of burglar proofing them a little bit today. I I don't even think like that, man. It's like that was how many years ago?
I know.
We're
I'm just
talking
and
the
forgive me. I
80s.
didn't. I was just trying to be add some humor to it because you've come so
Yeah,
far away from all of that. Um, but anyway,
I
so
missed that.
we've been laughing, and I want to ask you for real now. I've been in trouble myself. Um, I have 33 years clean and sober. I once spent a week locked up, for getting in trouble, and that seemed like an eternity. I remember every hour of it. You know, you did 15 years. What does that much time do to a human being?
Well, in my case, it just wrung the stupid out of me because it gets really it's mostly just a lot of boredom or drudgery. For me it was,
Mm,
and so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of incidents, violence and stuff like that, mostly with cops. I usually have trouble with cops for some reason, and so really the last few years of prison for me were amazing because I had discovered an opportunity to make myself a better person. And so that's the way I see prison. I don't see that prison is necessarily a bad thing for the right reasons. They just don't do it right. I got to admit, they don't do prison right. But, what are you going to do?
So both sides of the ledger. So it sounds like most of the stuff coming out of prison was good, but is there what's the bad side like of coming out of a prison? You came out. Glenn was waiting at the bus station. Um, what were you carrying? A new determination, or more hopelessness, or just fear, or what?
Yeah.
What
No, see, that's the thing. It's really important to point out that in 2001, I had this turnaround. That turnaround with that kite to psych services in prison, Snake River Correctional Institution. I dropped that kite in there. It was life transforming. It took a while for it to really hit, but I was immediately better because I'm like, I don't care what anybody thinks. In order to put that kite in a box, I had to say, I don't care what anybody thinks of me standing in line to get my pill.
mm-hmm.
And that was the beginning of humility and courage. And so then I went to drafting. I learned drafting and I was good at it because I liked it. I loved it and I was learning. So I left prison with a mindset that I was going to do something. I didn't necessarily think that I would be even running a company per se or running a brand. It was just, I just put one foot in front of the other, and I believed in myself that I was going to do all right, you know.
Mm. Well,
I didn't come out bad.
I know a little bit of what it's like to become kind of a perception when people recognize you, but they don't really know you. That thing. And so, do did you try to kind of? You said the guy in the logo is fictitious. How many years did you kind of try to live up to that image, or did you even try, or did it bother you, or what was the relationship between like that, you know, image and you, the Dave's bread muscles, the muscle guy?
It was not me trying to live up to anything. That was I was looking at that as a way to represent Dave and a kind of a superhero version of me. Never, I didn't want it to look like me because that would be too close to home. I wanted a cartoon version of me, and um, I didn't think it's a good thing. I mean, that I always see that guy, and I see him as an ideal. He's an ideal version, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I told the guy when he was drawing it, right? I kept having him do new versions of it because it was never right. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
way I wanted it. I finally told him, he kept making my arms normal size. I said, dude, I'm paying you the big bucks, like, $200 or something. You got to make my arms bigger. No, no, bigger. And he ballooned them out. So it's all a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really, I didn't have to live up to anything. I was just being me. And then it was like, even then, when I was drinking, I became less of me. you know. And so I had to come back and try to just get normal again.
Gotcha. You've written about a monster inside of you, and you said that the second time it came back, it was worse because before I was miserable, but this time I wasn't. Can you talk about that a little bit? 'Cause just want to dig into that.
I haven't been miserable. I haven't been miserable for a very long time. I see circumstances that are bad at times, but I don't, it doesn't bring me down. It just makes me uncomfortable, and makes me want to get my life back on track, or to get rid of things in my life that are burdens. There's money itself and property can be a burden. So for me, it's all about getting back to being my best. And, back when I started doing dope, and I was, my early 20s, and I was miserable, and the dope made me feel better, you know. So the monster was already going, and the dope just was like, it made me stronger monster. And then that was like my first transformation. And the second, after this real transformation, where I realized I didn't need dope, and I was okay. I was a decent guy. That I didn't have to live up to anything. I was just me, and I'm okay with that. And I was creating and so forth. So the second monster was after Dave's Killer Bread was born, and I started falling off the edge a little bit at a time from drinking and stuff. Um, just drinking. I wasn't doing the other drugs, but the point is, I wasn't miserable when that monster came. I haven't been miserable ever since. I'm just okay with whatever. I just have to forgive myself for mistakes.
Amen. You beat meth in prison and got out in '04, and then alcohol kind of took you down a decade later at the top with $33 million in the bank. Is it the same disease in a different costume, or is it a different animal entirely?
Um, I think the psychological aspect to whoever it is that you are on a certain level, that is something you're dealing with either way. But experience has made me wiser and more capable of seeing the bright side of things, seeing things as half full instead of half empty all the time, like I used to. So, because the thing is, I can fall down. I mean, I have lots of issues right now. I have medical stuff I'm dealing with, for instance, and uh, you know, it's just another day, another thing,
Mhm.
and I can overcome it every time. That's the
Awesome.
difference between this monster and the old one.
Mm. Now, when you were creating your bread marketing schematic, your marketing guy thought you'd lost your mind putting four-time loser ex-con right on the package. Now, where I come from, we call that the fifth step, the public inventory and the history of the program. That's an AA thing. But anyway, was that a recovery, confession, marketing, or all three?
That's funny. No, it was to be kind of humorous, kind of witty, uh,
Uh-huh.
but also it's
It
like a
is.
one line. It's like a little phrase that covers everything in a very simple nutshell fashion, but it
Mhm.
doesn't really. What I was hoping is people would just take it as the story. It's the truth, and realize that I was a guy who was a four-time loser, but I realized I was in the wrong game, and now I'm a guy who is doing the right thing, and because of that, doing well.
So I forgot to ask you about the kite. So you were 38, cell in a cell, suicidal. You filled out one of those kites. What did you actually write on that thing?
That's a great question. Damn, that's a
Tony
tough one.
Robbins didn't ask you that, I bet. Huh?
Nobody has ever asked me that one. Uh, I think I wrote. I would like to see someone about. medication, maybe something like that. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to tell them like that I was suicidal or anything like that. So I didn't give
Hmm.
up too much information because that would have been got me in a lot of trouble. I just
Hmm.
like, I heard a medication might help me. So I asked for that and they brought me in and gave me medication. That's what they do.
Hmm. Man, so and then everybody thinks your turning point was the kite, but there's always a moment before that, like where you decide, to reach out, or the kite was just the action. The decision came first. Um, Sitting in that cell, what did you actually decide about who you were, or did anything change? Did you have any epiphanies in prison where you're like, man,
Maybe.
I'm a this, I'm a that?
You mean before the kite or
Yeah,
after? Because
or
before the kite, at times I would probably I think I would come to the point where I had hope. I mean, and when I went out in the daytime, went out to the yard and all the things that I was doing, I didn't show my how I felt. The weakness is that's a weakness to show, right? I used to think of it as weakness and something you wouldn't talk about and wouldn't let on that you had. Um, so there was times that I thought, because I was a guitar player, I worked out. I was in really good shape in those days, even when I was depressed. I just kept trying, right? And I would go run. I would do workouts, uh, and I would play my guitar in the yard. But
mm,
there was something missing. I was really had a big hole in me, and I felt like I couldn't do anything right. Like in the long run, everything turned out bad, and I just had a low feeling of myself, and it was very low. And it's to the point of like, why am I alive? Especially when I'm doing all this time again. What is my future like? What's the point? And when you get to a certain point, and you know it because of 12 steps, it's the same thing. You get to that certain point, and you're bottom. You're at the bottom, and you'll do just about anything to come out of it. Um, And what I did is put that kite in. So early, up to that time, I was having really bad dreams. I mean, dreams of murdering people, because I was stuck in a situation where his killer be killed, or the cops were chasing me down, and it was over. And I mean, I killed somebody. Now I'm going to be done.
mm,
Ugly situations. And then you wake up and you're sweating and you're shaking and you look around and you go, oh shit, this is great. I got 5 years left to get it right. That kind
mm.
of thing. And so finally, after enough of that and filling out the kite several times before I actually dropped it in the box, uh,
Oh, really? So you sat there and looked at it. You kind of like, nah, a couple of times.
yeah, the first few times I just threw it away because by the time the doors opened in the morning and it was time I could put it in the kite box. By that time, I was usually would give up on the idea. I thought that was a terrible
Hmm.
idea, over and over again. And finally, I had the courage. I see it now as courage to drop it in the box.
When you look back on that, see, I'm always curious about the moment because there's all this suffering, and I can relate to that. In my life, I've had some suffering, but just like when did you reach a new moment of like, enough is enough, and I got to get out of here? And was there anything specific, like a certain week or a day or some shitty prison food, or where you're just like, you know what, I gotta write somebody, get out of here?
Um,
Or was it just a
that's
cumulative thing?
it's cumulative. I think I just got to the point where I said, "Look, what do I have to lose? Just put the damn kite in the box, see what happens." And it was like, I don't know, cathartic. I guess that's the word for what happened.
I like to
Changed
say
my life.
I like to say, if you don't ask, You don't GET.
That's what this should
Uh,
be a song of yours.
Serena McLaughlin has a question for you. What is the greatest lesson you learned from prison?
Oh, wow. Serena's been there. She knows. I know Serena very well. She's a friend of mine, that a partner who's doing. We're doing a treatment center together. She's the boss. I'm just kind of helping, just kind of put a little money in. But she's we're starting a treatment center down there in Sacramento, and so I told her I was going to be on here today. She's amazing. She did some time, and she doesn't hide it because she wrote her own book about it. And so that's right. Serena, how are you? Thanks for jumping on. Um, the lesson I learned about, I learned that that I don't have to go to prison. I learned that I don't have to be this guy that got into that mess. I learned that I could draft and design my way out of a bad thing. I'd create a better future. I think that's my number one thing that I learned in prison.
Well, so did addiction almost win? How close did you come to losing the
You mean dying?
battle? Yeah.
Because I've lost plenty, brother. But dying, I don't know. It's like, as far as like taking myself out, I was really close. I think if I'd have had a couple times, if I'd have had a weapon rather than a little tiny big razor blade, I
Yeah.
think that I would have done it. I might have done it, but I always never could imagine the future without me. How do you do that? Uh, that's weird, huh?
That's hilarious. I want to remember that. That's awesome. I've never.
It's kind of
That's
hard.
good. That's a good thing. I like that. I like that. And I really love this story about the kite because sometimes just the thing to do is just to do it, right? I mean, anyway. Uh,
It
so,
is.
so I have to ask about your massive, huge, expansive African art collection and the masks. So you filled a whole warehouse with African masks and said behind those hundreds of faces is where the real Dave Dahl is. So does this mean, a question for you is, does this mean really you're a hidden introvert, or you like to stay behind the scenes, or that you're a true monster?
Wow. Okay. Is that multiple choice? Do I have to choose one of those three? Because I am I've certainly been a monster, um, and I'm an introvert trapped in an extrovert's body. And let's see what else we got. You asked me one more question, but I I don't know why I liked masks from the beginning. I bought a bunch of cheap masks on eBay or yeah, eBay when I first got started, and I've just always loved them. So it's they sometimes the rougher they are, the better because they. It's like when something hurts a lot. It's like I used to listen growing up. I used to listen to Black Sabbath and really hard, heavy stuff, right?
I can see
Because it
that.
was dark.
I can
It
see
was
that, Dave.
dark and it
Hmm.
Yeah, and it was dark, and it brought it helped it eased my pain by feeling other pain. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just helped me put it on somewhere else.
So then you picked up a guitar in prison too, and now you front a band, the Killer Granddaddies, and you guys played at actually one of my. I produced New Year's Eve events for a decade when I lived back in Oregon, and your band played there. So, what do you really love to play now? Like, what do you love to get into?
What on my guitar?
Yeah,
I I have to, I don't know if I told you we haven't seen each other much for a while. We used to be thick as thieves back in the day. We hung out a little bit, and I haven't been able to play well because I have uh, these problems with my fingers. And It's because of some nerve issue that's related, I believe, to uh, my skeleton. I used to be like 6 feet. Now I'm like 5'10" and a half.
You're shrinking.
Um, I'm shrinking, and I think it's crushing
I'm
my damn
shrinking.
damn nerves. So my nerves are crushing, and my feet don't work like they used to. My hands don't, and so I haven't had the courage to pick up the guitar and play it and go through the pain of learning like all over again because my
Mm,
fingers aren't doing what my mind knows they used to be able to do.
gotcha. Victoria De Silvio has a question for you from Palm Beach. Did you get tattoos in prison?
Yeah, let's see. There's one that was a silly tattoo
She
that I
wants
made in
she wants
CAD.
to see your tattoo.
I just showed it.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Because I can't. It's a
Yeah.
tiny little picture. I can't tell if I'm doing it right.
It's all right. Um,
Shannon earlier was telling me I need to change how I look because I can't tell if I'm showing up right. Um,
mm,
but anyway, there's that, and then I have a great big tattoo that I got after prison. It's a good seed tattoo, which is my brand, my favorite bread that I made.
mm. Well, listen, I'm not going to keep you all day. I know you're busy. I appreciate you for spending time with me. And last one, and after the prison, the bread, the crash, and the comeback, what's the thing you're most fired up about right now?
Well, like I said, the book it's got me fired up. I feel like I'm on a new trajectory. I've been 2 years sober as of 2 days from now. I mean, it
Mm,
doesn't sound like a lot to people who have been sober a long time, but to me, it's an accomplishment. It's not like so much it's accomplishment, but I'm kicking ass in life. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rip.
mm.
And so the book is kind of like taking a lot of my time, but I got lots of other things too.
Well, you're the ultimate overcomer. And to me, that's the best kind of story on this planet. And you're a dear friend. I mean, you and I transparently we talk every now and then. You're an encouragement to me and many others. Thanks so much for being on my little podcast, and I'll be talking with you soon. God bless you, my brother. Anything you wanted to say, like about your book, or where to catch you, or where
No,
to?
that's going to be a while. I'm not doing a lot, if anything, that people need to know about other than working hard, man. That's what I'm doing, working hard.
All right, Dave Dahl, everybody. Hey, make sure to share, like, and subscribe this program. I'm going to be interviewing a lot of people coming up. My friend Steve Dunn um, and Spider
Just
Cherry
dig
from
this
Sammy Hagar.
podcast.
Yeah, he's coming up next. So God bless everybody. And we will see you very soon.
Sure is fun. I know that.
This is where the party at.
Patches, patches, 2-week-old collard greens. Kind of extra meat in it.
Do it, honey.
He always wearing them Japanese burger shoes.